2.5 miles, take exit 1 toward New York 9A, West Street. In 1,000 feet, turn right onto Albany Street. At the light, turn right onto Albany Street, then turn left onto South End Avenue. At the light, turn left onto South End Avenue. Your destination is on the left.
Is that one down the road? Yeah.
جميلة صبحي صبحي mau زعيم التريس Hola, me bendiga.
Over here, so whatever. Being center is probably better. You're gonna get less rocket reaction. Center line of the ship.
I went on a big boat like this with my sister recently and I didn't get sick. So I don't think it's going to
Excuse me? Excuse me? Can you put my Spanish? Thank you so much.
Hai ba là Việt Nam đấy, ok. Em ra đây mấy lần rồi?
Yang lần đầu anh. Quell'ora.
Riesco a farlo bene. Selfie dei 4. Dai. Ragazzi che non c'è gente, Katia, vieni. Facciamo un selfie, veloce.
that we're going now to the other island?
Ya, ayah.
Pak, ini lagi bagus, Pak.
Lagi bagus.
Paco, hijo.
ladies and gentlemen, this stop is Ellis Island. If you'd like to visit Ellis Island, please make your way down to the main deck. Our next and final stop will be New York City. Once again, this stop is Ellis Island.
The vessel is now alongside the dock. All disembarking passengers should move to the exit gangway at the forward end of the main deck.
Street. Will arrive at your destination. traffic circle, take the third exit the traffic circle onto Central Park West. Continue on Central Park West for 2 miles.
Balloon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. How do you know about it?
Stairs and into a different exhibit. And in the back in Mathematica, there's an accessible exit that brings you down a ramp next to the theater and into the lower level of the balloonway. I do have one really big request of you all throughout the show, and I may need to repeat it if we get a few folks in who missed this initial announcement, but I'm going to ask that we keep off of the red carpet unless you're actively walking on it. So that does include the main stairs there, down in front of... All right, did you like it? Okay, so I'm glad, keeping those voices back down, friends. I know we have a lot of excitement and that is okay, but we got a lot to get to. So I'm glad that you liked that one Tesla coil there. While it is our loudest and our brightest, in my opinion, it is not the coolest one. We have a lot of more awesome Tesla coils that we can talk about throughout the show. However, getting into a little bit of that detail of what we just saw and heard. It was pretty loud, right? Yeah, it's pretty loud, I would say. However, when it comes to the electric force, we don't hear it. We don't see it. It is invisible and it is silent. Okay. So could we tell that they were kind of about the same? Maybe. Yeah, they are. And that is because they're all 120 sparks per second. But what if we could change the amount of sparks per second? Do more or fewer? Would that change the sound? You did still. Excellent. Are able to change the amount of sparks per second. And they are able to do so in a way that we can control when that change occurs, which is pretty awesome. The result is a lot different. They are, in fact, significantly louder than our front Tesla coils. So my headphones are going on. In. All right, ready? And get ready for the loud, fun noise. They're warming up. Give it 1 second. And here we go. How it in fact lights up. Are you ready? Okay. It's super cool, right? And if I go further away, turns off. Closer. Further away. Closer. Further away. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. Am I plugged into anything? No. Do I have
I don't think it does talk. I would still let him. He'd be on my back right now. I totally hear you. Which means he technically could ride on my back. I'm not very same t-shirt. Yeah. Darn it. Yeah. And we dress in oh, here. Fine, it's just on the side like that. Oh, very cute. I'll go with you. Sorry.
That's fine.
It's like 9, 10 months in.
Oh my God, it's looking at him.
Alright, go look at them. It's kind of go watch the robot. He's gonna climb the stairs. Watch. Watch. You wanna go walk around? Oh, he's going. It looks like he's going to his charger. Oh, it looks like he's charging. He's taking a nap. Yeah, be careful.
And I was tightening it down so it didn't come out of the joist and I slipped right off. Yeah. I'm like,
Now, but you know.
Call him. Say, look, he's looking at this. Going with it.
Look, he's sitting down. Just be
No, but that don't need some head.
George, come look at it. Look over here.
Is he gonna pick up rocks?
He's gonna go over the rocks. Here he comes. Oh, he's gonna climb over the thing. Huh?
Wait! Right there!
Louie, don't you eat lunch? Okay. Kevin, what kind?
stop trying to show off your whatever it is.
Để mai thấp xuống.
question. Show of hands, who here thinks this robot would be waterproof? I'm curious. Okay, cool. That percentage of yeses is honestly pretty close to the real answer, which is a little bit. Boston Dynamics has let us know that they consider these robots to be about as waterproof as your average smartphone. It should not be driven into the ocean or into a pool. It can go out in like a light drizzle, but they try not to do that outdoors. We want to make sure that the exposed parts that are electronics don't get too wet. Awesome question. Yeah. Are we going to sell the robots? We are not offering these up for sale. This is not a robot auction, I'm afraid. But both of these robots, both of these robots are commercial objects. They are both the Spot and the Go-To, which we'll hear a little bit about later. Both are devices that can be purchased. Does anyone think they know how much a Spot robot goes for? What do you guess? 20,000? Okay. Does anyone think higher than 20,000? Higher? Who thinks lower than 20,000? Do you think lower than 20,000? Do you have another guess? 17,000. Okay, these are nice, precise guesses. So a Spot robot, just this model alone, tends to be around 100,000 US dollars. And then even if you just happen to have that in your pocket and you want to buy a Spot robot, I do have mildly disappointing news for you. These are commercial bots only. They are not made or intended for personal recreational use. You have to be a company, an affiliation that follows a specific code of ethics in order to acquire one of these. They have a lot of rules and regulations for what you can and can't do with the Spot robot. And they will actually enforce that to a pretty significant degree. So you have to be a company or an entity like a university to get it. I'm on that one. Is that better? Can folks still hear me? Neat. All right, what is your next question? Where did the robot come from? That's a really good question, and I will tell you because it's part printed on the side. This is a product of Boston Dynamics, which is based in Waltham, not Boston. They're not a Boston-based company, but they're in the greater Boston area. Waltham, Massachusetts is where these robots are designed, tested, assembled, and shipped out from. Did I see a hand over here? What's in Boston? Does Spot act like a regular dog? I like that question a lot because there's not a really specific yes or no answer. Does anyone think Spot here looks similar to a dog? Yeah, I think there's a lot of what we call biomimicry going on, where scientists, engineers use nature, which has been developing and evolving for millions and millions of years, as a template to do really cool and also efficient things with the devices. Which AI is this robot powered by? It is not artificial intelligence. There is very little what we would consider, like there's ChatGPT is playing zero role in the behavior of this robot. Boston Dynamics refers to what it has, programming-wise, as athletic intelligence, meaning not necessarily a large language model or any sort of decision-making tree in that regard, but instead has incredibly sophisticated, complex methods of keeping itself stable, moving around an environment in a way that protects its own body, I would say, quote unquote, and then also allows it to navigate all sorts of culture and scenarios. So it's not artificial intelligence, even though we keep it next to our AIs today. Can this robot do a flip? No. I'm afraid this robot doesn't have a whole lot of tricks that might expect or something that could perform. Spot robots are built to do jobs. So you might send it in a place that is dangerous for a human being to be. It can withstand a decent amount of nuclear radiation, for example. So if you're trying to test out if a space is too dangerously contaminated for human beings to set foot in, a Spot robot is an excellent thing you can use. You can attach a sensor, send it into someplace dangerous. That can also include like mining and active construction areas, places that are very dark, places where there might not be oxygen, all wonderful places where a Spot robot can protect human laborers. Can it dig? I like this question a lot. What do you think? What is your guess? Yes? So looking at Spot's feet, I think it might not be very good at burrowing. When we think about biomimicry and you imagine an animal that's very good at digging, they tend to have some maybe big claws, something that can be used to scoop dirt up. These round robot feet, not very good at digging. But if a hole has already been dug, like a tunnel, Spot is excellent at navigating through those because it does not need light to see. What is your question? Can Spot jump over? Or fool around? So that being said, even though this is a professional use robot, the folks at Boston Dynamics do have a little bit of a sense of humor. Does anybody here think they can jump higher off the ground than Spot can? A lot of you should be raising your hands because I do think you can. Let's see how high Spot can jump. That is about as high as Spot is capable of getting its feet off of the ground. It's pretty heavy. We have a lot of super strong muscles to propel our body off the ground. Spot's main body is quite heavy and his legs are maybe not quite powerful enough to propel it all the way off at once. And as for fooling around, I do like the phrasing of that. It does have some preset, that's a good one. It does have some preset tricks that can be programmed in. So long as someone is an adept computer coder, they can tell its motors to do almost anything that they want, certainly within the realms of what its physical body can withstand. I see your hand over here. Ooh, that's a really good question. Is Spot a cheetah or trying to find the hot spots for that feedback. I'm sorry, folks. Is Spot a cheetah or a dog? It might be neither. It's certainly based off of real life animals, but it is not an animal. That's an awesome question. That's a really great way to also wrap up Spot. What happens if this robot falls over? I've mentioned it's really, really good at navigating maybe uneven terrain. You can see it do this quite well in its exhibit next to our AI area. If I kicked it and it fell over, which is something that they do to test out these robots. There are some pretty funny internet videos with this. What happens when Spot falls down? Can it get up? If someone pushed it over and it had a belly up posture like this is also a very good way for us to access its battery. The folks on this side have a much better view, but this stripy rectangle in the middle of what we can call its stomach or its undercarriage, that is its battery. It's a really big percentage of its weight, and so we have to change that out pretty frequently. And it is able to right itself as well. It's very, very good at doing this, sensing where its motors and limbs are relative to one another. That is a really big component of what we're calling its athletic intelligence. Not quite artificial intelligence, but certainly athletic intelligence. And so with that, I think Spot is going to take a bit of a bow, and we're going to bring in our next robot, which might look pretty similar. So we can talk about what is similar and also what is different between Spot and the Go 2. Do you have a question? What is your question? Spot can do its tricks. It has a couple pre-programmed moves, and one thing that is really, really fun about this Go 2 is it also has some pre-programmed moves that we can execute. I'm going to try really hard to avoid where I think the feedback is coming from. So the Go 2, very, very similar to Spot in a lot of different regards. It is made by a different company. This is not by Boston Dynamics. It is made by Unitree, which is a Chinese-based company. And these smaller robots are built for personal so individuals can buy these. They are really, really good tools if you are learning to program, if you are learning how to mesh code and robotics. That was kind of their whole goal. Researchers and hobbyists alike can use GoTo to learn more about robots. I see Logan, did you have another question? Can the robots run? Yes, they can change their speed. I now have another question, similar to my jumping question. Does anybody here think they can outrun the GoTo? Okay. So it does take a second to adjust the speed setting, but let's get a demo of the absolute fastest speed that the GoTo can do in just a second. In the meantime, did I see your hand also, my friend? Did you have another question? What looks like its head, and why Spot doesn't. So we can see it can move its limbs pretty darn quickly, but the maximum speed that these robots can achieve is certainly well within what a human being can do. The max, I think, kilometers per hour can go through. Alright, so the fastest ever speed that a GoTo has achieved was 11 miles per hour, but we certainly have not figured out how to give it that level of brake play. In general, its fastest setting is around 7 miles per hour. So that is pretty darn speedy, but certainly most human beings could keep pace for sure. So now let's talk about that spinning part underneath its head, or what looks like its face. Can everybody see that? There's a really quickly rotating component underneath that green light. So that is not a camera, but another way that GoTo uses to navigate its surroundings. That is something called LiDAR. That means that it is beaming out lasers in all directions and using the bounce back of those lasers to figure out how close or far it is from an obstacle. Spot has something very similar. It's not a spinning motion, but it does use LiDAR as well to make sure that it doesn't bump into things. This is why you can send a Spot robot, certainly on a pre-programmed route, and it will avoid damaging itself by bumping into things. GoTo has a slightly less effective, but still pretty darn functional LiDAR for making sure it doesn't bump into things. That spinning motion is how it makes sure it gets the full 360-degree view. So yes, we are all currently being lasered, but I can promise you they are quite harmless, not dangerous lasers. Navigation, like a lot of satellites use, and scientific tool-based airplanes will also use LiDAR to map the planet. This is oh, all right. Is this one also waterproof? What would happen? The GoTo is way less waterproof than Spot is. It is also kind of labeled as not even dust-proof. You have to be pretty careful with a GoTo. Spot is very much designed for use in like heavy industry areas. GoTo is something to be used indoors for sure. It doesn't like any type of moisture. It really does not like any type of particulate like dust. And I see your hands over here, but I'm nervous about the feedback. How loudly can you yell your question to me? How fast? Oh, that's a great question. Like rotations per minute? I don't know how fast this is spinning. Do you have a guess? At 50 miles, because my eyes can't even see the physical object that's spinning like that. What is it spinning?
How much is it worth?
How much is it worth? Yes, so that's a good question. This is a robot that individuals can buy for their own home to figure out researching the code. It is certainly cheaper than $100,000. It is typically around $2,800, which is still a decent amount of money, but certainly much more affordable, more accessible than the Spot robot. How does it do tricks? That is a really good question. A very similar way to Spot. So just like Spot, this robot is not moving on its own. It's being powered by my friend Mern up there. And it comes pre-programmed with a certain amount of tricks. Those what we think as perhaps emotive actions. And if someone individually buys a go-to, they have the option to program new tricks. So you, if you are very good at coding and very patient and excited to work hard at this, you can use coding language to give it new tricks, test them out, and make new buttons for them. So you can yes, that spinning part underneath there is a LiDAR sensor. It's not quite a mouth. It doesn't use that part to do what we use our mouths for, right? It doesn't breathe. It certainly does not eat food. Even though it looks like an animal, it doesn't do a lot of the things that living. It can even jump forward. So if you keep an eye on it, Marty's doing an excellent job of cycling through a lot of the really cool athletic acrobatic tricks. Can I take one last question? How long can it go without recharging? That's another really good question, especially to end on. So the best rock, we have a little performance that little robots will put on. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. I'm going to turn my microphone off so it doesn't screech at you anymore, and enjoy our FNAF dance. Alright, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. If you have any more questions, be sure to stick around. We'll be here for a little longer.
Okay, that's Triceratops. Who's this
What'd you do?
Chiều nào cũng đi vậy? Chiều nào cũng đi bộ vòng vòng à? Lâu lâu mới đi. Lâu lâu đi cũng được. Anh lần đầu anh chơi là đu coi má đừng nó lên 50 độ má con nó xuống lại trời thường người nó xếp cái gồm đúng rồi xếp cái gồm thôi nó kêu tôi là lên bên chút miệng ngồi nhậu không ơi lên núi á lên bao nhiêu lần vậy đó lên lộ lắm từ chiều đó 4-5 giờ phải không? Không có thấy ai không mày ở đây là giờ chung sướng chứ là không con cháu nhiều hơn con cháu không ở thì ở Mỹ
Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ that? Let's give it a shot and see what you got. Everybody jump! Crisscross make you wanna jump, jump. That would mess you guys up a little bit. And this lets you know we're going to be flying at an average altitude of around 5.5 feet tonight, which would be perfect for taking in the sights and sounds of Boston. Is anybody from Boston by any chance? No? Alright, cool. I can make up this whole tour now. I make up half this crap anyhow, so. Anybody from England? No? Good, we're going to be talking about them, so. It's true. Our 35th president used to eat there all the time. His name was Justin Bieber. Sorry, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK. I mix those two up all the time. Any Bieber fans on board? They got the Bieber fever? You? I love Justin Bieber. That guy's so amazing. Wish he'd take me back to Canada. Do anything. Our most historical building is over there on the left-hand side, though. It's called Sephora. That drives me bonkers that that's just there. It's like history, Sephora. It's like, why? But to the right of Sephora, though, is Faneuil Hall. That dates back to 1742 when Peter Faneuil, wealthy merchant, gave that building to Boston. Bottom floor is a marketplace, top floors are meeting halls. That's 1870. An event called the Boston Massacre took place. There was a British soldier standing guard in front of the State House. Then over there on the left, where that Bank of America was right there, that's where about 150 to 200 drunk, angry colonists are. They're mad that their APR just went from 2.4 to 17%. They're throwing stones, ice balls, firewood, and sticks at the soldier. The soldier's starting to fear for his life. He reaches in his pocket, grabs his iPhone, and calls out for backup. 7 more soldiers arrive on scene. One of them was an officer, and he gave the command to the troops, do not use your weapons. He was trying to keep the situation calm. It's already escalated way out of hand. You're not in. So he goes to Paul Revere. Paul Revere creates an etching. They stick it in the newspaper, spread it throughout the towns. Let's get everybody angry with England. But the picture didn't tell the truth. And the picture made the British soldiers look like they were angry and just shooting people for no reason. They even added a puppy to the picture. It's called propaganda at its finest, and it worked extremely well. Instantly, the oldest burying ground in Boston, it dates back to the 1630s. This is where many of the Puritans that first settled this area laid to rest. John Winthrop, our first colonial governor, is buried there with his son, and Mary Chilton, one of the first ladies to step off the Mayflower. This building with the gold trim coming up on the left is the Omni Parker House, the oldest continuously operating hotel in America, home to the creation of Boston Cream Pie, the official dessert of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which is a cake, by the way. Parker House rolls come from there, and it's supposedly one of the most haunted hotels in America. Coming up on the left is the Beantown Pub, the only bar in the entire world that you can go to, sit down and have a cold Sam Adams beer, and while you're drinking it, you can look right across the street on your right at a cold Sam Adams. What, too soon? It's called the Granary Burying Ground. 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence are buried here. John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and Robert Tree. Japan would be the long, narrow neck that connected the peninsula to the mainland. Size of the Shawmut Peninsula is only 1.5 square miles. That's it. Today, though, we call it downtown Boston. It's almost 5 square miles now due to landfill projects that we started to do in the 1800s, taking about 40 years to fill in what we now call the Back Bay of Boston, which is where we're about to enter in right now. It's called the Back Bay because this used to be the actual back bay of the Charles River. What we're about to turn into used to be water, right? So whenever you go through, his name was Reverend William Blackstone. He settled in an area now called the Boston Common, which is the park that we just came to the side of. He lived at the foot of that hill for 5 years completely alone. Bunch of books and some cattle that grazed on the land. 1630, John Winthrop and 150 Puritans leave England for religious freedom. They're trying to get away from their king and reform religion. They come over and they settle in an area now called Charlestown across the harbor. The drinking water over there was lack thereof. It was brackish water. You can't drink that, and you can't brew beer with it either because salt ruins the brewing process. The Puritans liked their beer. They drank it all day long. The second they woke up to the second they fell asleep. All right, it was very, very low in alcohol volume to go bad, and that's what they'd eat in church all day. And that's why we're called Beantown. All right, and that's also part of the reason we think the benches in a church are called a pew. Did you guys know there's exactly 239 beans in each can of Boston Baked Beans? Because if there's one more, it'd be too funny when you ask somebody how old their kid is, and they're like 37 months. It's like, I swear to God. I am going to find out how old I am in months, though, because I think that would be hilarious. How old are you? I'm like 578 months. I have no idea what the actual number is, but I think that would be funny. All right, up ahead on your right-hand side, we got the beautiful Trinity Church. It's one of the top 10 finest examples of architecture in the United States. It's the only church to make the list. Built in 1877, architect's name was Henry Hobson Richardson. It was a brand new style of architecture, so it was named after him. It's called Richardsonian Romanesque, and it has to do with the rounded archways above the two spruce wooden pilings that are driven 30 feet into the ground below it until they touch hard blue bedrock plain they seize up. And that's because we're in the Back Bay. It's man-made land, it's a little unstable, especially when it was first created. So a lot of these old structures are actually held up by piling systems. If they weren't there, these buildings would have collapsed into the ground. Some people refer to the Back Bay as the invisible forest. Throughout the Back Bay, some say there's near as many as 1 million pilings driven into the ground throughout the Back Bay. Entrance and exit, it's used for like retirements, visiting kings and queens, presidential visits, or bringing in the flags at the end of a war. On your right-hand side is the Robert Gould Shaw Memorial. He led the 54th Regiment into the Civil War, the first all-black volunteer regiment from the North to fight in the Civil War. He dies at the Battle of Fort Wagner, South Carolina, and never took the fort. Movie Glory. Have you guys ever seen that movie, Glory? Starring Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. Great movie, isn't it? It's one of the most historically accurate films out there. It tells the whole story of the 54th Regiment. So, the producer of that film almost canceled it because they weren't being accurate enough. They were like, fix it or we'll shut it down. And of mental health and unemployment. It was used in the movie as State Police Headquarters for a reason, and that reason is that little red brick building across the street. You guys see it with the garage on the bottom of it? That right there used to belong to a notorious criminal from South Boston, which is Jack Nicholson in that movie, James Whitey Bulger. That's where he ran his criminal empire out of in real life, right there. That's the Lancaster Street garage, right? So just imagine a lot of people that went in that garage probably did not come out the same way, right? That guy was evil. If we only knew where the FBI was, huh? We do. They're in that building over there with the horizontal stripes. He was literally right underneath their nose the entire time, but he grew up with a childhood friend and became an FBI agent, so he had a few of them on the inside actually helping him out. Now, eventually they do have to go after Whitey Bulger. He takes off. They could not find him for 16 years. That's how long he was on the run. They're busy right now, too. And there's an ambulance there, so somebody got hurt. Is this the time of the year where they're all going to start parking here, even though there's 8,000 signs that say no parking? Everybody jump! Maybe less skateboarding tricks and more reading lessons. They'll find out when the cops start showing up and kicking them all out and writing them tickets. But all right, you guys ready to do this though? Alright, so this duct that we're on, Beantown Betty, was actually built by a roller coaster company. That's who replicated it for Boston Duck Tours. We're going to treat it like a roller coaster ride. What do you guys think? Alright, here we go. Everybody throw your hands up in the air unless you're holding a baby. Then wave around like you just don't care and scream like a 5-year-old. And that's how you turn a truck into a boat. By the way, do not do that with your personal vehicle, guys. This is as far as you'll get. You guys want to see some really strange people? If you do, just don't stare them in the eyes, because if you do, they'll steal your soul. Right? They're right over here on your left. There they are. Alright, let's get a show of hands really quick. Who would not swim in this river? Raise your hand if you would not swim in the river. You right there, Gene Coe, you're the first one to get your hand up. What's your reason? Why not? That's the answer I was looking for. Everybody always says that. This is actually the cleanest urban river in the United States. Put a bunch of fuel into it not too long ago. I'm sure they'll get that cleaned up too. Everybody doing okay? Yeah, how old's yours? Your little one. What's that? 37 months. She's like, oh, I got you. Alright, so we're going to go up to this little hole in the wall right in front of us, guys. It's called the old block and dam system. It doesn't work as one anymore. It only serves as a passageway now. It shut down in 1977. The new one was located behind us. We came to the river, opened up in 1978. And there was a blizzard that year. It was called the Great Blizzard of 78. That storm dropped over 3.5 feet of snow in less than 3 days. Came with it hurricane-forced winds and a 15-foot tidal surge. The new lock and dam system was completed and opened 2 weeks before that storm hit. Good thing it was, because the Back Bay landfill project, that would have took the brunt end of that storm if they didn't get that up and running in time. You You guys know what snowdrifts are? And you know it's when the wind blows the snow into a pile? Those snowdrifts during that storm were 30 feet in height. School, depending on where you were living, was closed between a week and a month. And they were still digging cars off the highway a week and a half later. Alright, you want to see what I'm talking about? Go to google.com, click images, and type in blizzard of 78. You'll see what I'm talking about. It was absolute mayhem. But that's part of the reason they call this the old locking dam system. So at this time, does anybody have any damn questions? It's going to sound the horn a little bit. If you're wondering how they learn, then 3 to 5 seconds of a Rudy jump. Look at that guy showing off and juggling. I hate that guy. Hate's a strong word. It's accurate, though. This is the Museum of Science that we left from over here on the right. When we come around the bend, we'll see the back side of the museum, and outside the back is a party tent. You can rent it out for any occasion you want. Oh, that's how it went up. You want to drive? You sure? What I mean by driving, it's very simple. You just sit in the seat, you hold the wheel straight. Lisa can turn from the other side. Aaron can come up, snap a few pictures, I'll give you stickers, and we'll return right back to your seat so we have an opportunity to get all the kids up here, okay? And I'm going to keep on talking the entire time. They say that because people come from all over the entire world to go to our medical facilities in Boston. We are known as one of the best out there. The rankings go up and down all the time. Boston is always at the top of that list. Welcome. After opening 1811, is a woman clinic to the war there that would take out over half the people that went for death. The year 1962. 15-year-old boy decides to go train surfing. Have you guys ever heard that term? Where you don't want to pay for a ticket from the train, so you ride on the outside of it. So he's doing that, and here comes an approaching tunnel. Took his arm off, about mid-forearm. They were able to bring him to Mass General, though. It took about 7 hours to put it back on, but for the first time in history, they were able to successfully reattach his severed limb. 1 year later, the kid had over 80% mobility back to his hand and fingers. 2 years later, that same exact kid was riding on his bicycle, fell off his bike, and broke that same arm. That's the issue when somebody thinks I'm going to say it came back off, but they also did the first medical x-ray with the x-ray machine. If you guys didn't know, the x-ray machine when it first came out was actually used in carnivals. You go to a carnival, somebody stick their hand or their foot in the machine, take a picture, and be like, look, I can see my bones. Everybody's like, whoa. This doctor happened to be in a carnival one day, he's seen this happen. He's like, yeah, why are we not using this thing for medical treatment? So he bought college and then drop out. Bill Gates, Microsoft, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, and actor Matt Damon all did that. If it doesn't work, don't blame me, okay? Have you guys ever heard this before? PocketCon, the Hobbit Yacht, kid? Yeah, we don't say that, by the way. There is no parking in Hobbit Yacht. Your car will get towed. It's wicked expensive, and it's embarrassing. That's people making fun of the way we talk. I'm not going to say accent because we don't have one here in our yard, which means you have the accent. That felt really good. We get all the kids that wanted to drive, else up the river. After that, you got the University of Harvard. So the next bridge you're going to see, not this one, but the one up further, is the Harvard Bridge. Where does the Harvard Bridge take you? It takes you to MIT, actually. You got to go through MIT to get to Harvard. MIT didn't want their name associated with the bridge. They thought it was ugly, and they said it was structurally unsound to their likeness. It is structurally sound, and it is ugly. So they got 50% right. This is community voting over here on the left. There you go. You're welcome. The knowledge. Great deal if you ask me. Depending on the economy, I'd say anywhere between 50 and 80% of these students get away with a $1 bracket. They're able to do this because they're a non-profit organization, so they do rely heavily upon donation. We have a program within Boston Duck Tours that helps them and others out. It's called Quack Quack Give Back. We ask people like you when you're purchasing your tickets to donate $1 to our local charities that we help support. If you said yes, we match the money 100% at the end of the year. We give it to 6 different local charities, all having to do with either clean water, education, or veterans programs. And we're able to donate between 20 and now I ask is that's what the signatures are on the roof. That's our small token of appreciation for their service. Every one of our ducks has thousands of signatures on it. Alright, you guys ready to learn the history behind the vehicles we drive? Alright. find that hill, we can get the British a lot of trouble. So that was their plan, but through a spy network, we found out about their plan. So what did we do? We went up before them and tried to put their very plan in action for ourselves. We went up the night before the battle. That's why the battle broke out the next day. We worked all through the night, all the way into the morning and parts of the afternoon, knowing that we're going to get caught right away. The next morning, the British wake up, they look up the hill and realize what's happened overnight. They're not thrilled at all. They're like, you buggerheads. I don't know if that's what they said, but in my mind, I find that really funny with the British accent. So now they have to come take the hill away from us. They don't want us up there, and they don't want to give us any more time than we already had. So as soon as they come ready, their troops are going up that hill, which is around the afternoon. It took them that long because they ordered 2,200 highly trained British soldiers to go take. This battle stretched into midnight. Everybody jump! We had quite the advantage when being top of the hill. It's a lot easier to fire a weapon down a hill than it is up a hill. So the British had to fight and take this hill in third wave. Everybody jump! During the third wave is where the Patriots start running into a little bit of trouble. We're running low on ammo and gunpowder, but we don't want to give up the hill. So last attempts to keep the hill, we start loading our muskets. But hey, at least I got to see those 18 historical sites for that weird person dressed in a colonial outfit. Sounds legit, right? When you go to the TD Garden is right over there, and that's North Station, so that's where the purple line comes into. North Station will bring you north of Boston, the suburbs, anything north. South Station will bring you south. World is getting crazy. All-wheel drive goes off now. We don't need it anymore. We're not expecting snow in Boston until later on tonight. They say if you don't like the weather in New England, blank. They can change that quickly. We have 4 seasons in Boston. They're called winter, 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 and construction season. State bird is called the construction crane. Some people say we have 2 seasons, winter and August, which it should be winter and July. All right, let me summarize for you guys. So I'm very aware that
If anybody wants to take pictures, I will gladly pose for pictures in front of the dock. We'll take selfies.